Earlier this month, Nigel Farage said his bank had cancelled his account and that he believed that it was because of his opinions. His bank is Coutts, which is a bank so posh that they're bankers to the royal family, although Prince Philip would probably have had his account closed down by now for making an un-PC joke. Coutts, which is owned by pleb bank NatWest, leaked to the media that Farage was actually cancelled because he didn't have enough money to hold an account. It's a bit of a breach of client confidentiality, but how embarrassing for Farage. BBC journalists revelled in rubbishing Farage's claims, uncritically repeating the mystery Coutts source that said that Farage wasn't being persecuted, he was just poor. Twitter exploded with lefties mocking Farage. It's okay to laugh at people for being poor when they have the wrong opinions, apparently. They said it exposed Farage's grift. It shows he lies to drum up outrage at imagined Orwellian oppression for those with the wrong opinions, when the reality is he's just not commercially viable. Except Farage wasn't lying. He requested data held on him by the bank and received a dossier including minutes from meetings by Coutts' Reputation Risk Committee, who it turns out were monitoring his social media, his friendships, and also monitoring what people thought of him. First off, the bank repeatedly said that he met the economic contribution criteria for commercial retention. So, Farage was rich enough, and the reports in the media from a mystery Coutts source calling him poor were lies. They also branded him a chancer and a disingenuous grifter, which, as a member of the disingenuous grifting community, I think is very offensive. Please sign up to my Patreon, the link below by the way. The report mentions Brexit 86 times and Russia is mentioned 144 times. Now, there's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that GB News, which employs Nigel Farage, is funded by Jewish oligarchs in the Kremlin. Labour MP Chris Bryant played into this when he twice claimed in the Commons chamber, where he's immune from prosecution, that Farage received over £500,000 from Russia. Coutts then notes that they found no evidence of this. And they should know, because they're his bank. Any dodgy money from dodgy sources would be visible to them. Coutts also said that Farage is regarded as racist and xenophobic. Note that they don't say that he actually is racist and xenophobic, it's the perception that matters. They talk about his friendship with Novak Djokovic, who's a bad person apparently because of his vaccine opinions. I thought you corporate guys liked diversity. Djokovic is so foreign and diverse, nobody knows how to spell his name, and he's got diverse opinions about COVID. Man, I'm starting to think that woke people don't actually like diversity at all. Coutts also monitor Farage's social media. They mentioned that he retweeted a Ricky Gervais joke that could be deemed offensive. Man, what sort of insane world are we living in where banks monitor what comedians you like? Farage signed up for a bank account, not an overbearing mother. And why on earth is a bank monitoring someone's social media like this? It's like the Stasi in communist East Germany, but at least the Stasi were getting paid by the government. Imagine if NatWest put this amount of effort into identifying actual risk. They might have not gone bust and required £46 billion in bailing out from the taxpayer. That's right, £46 billion. I'd have thought that one place that might be safe from the malignant intolerance of wokeism would be the heartless world of banking where profit trumps everything else. Except profit doesn't trump everything else at Coutts. It's a wing of NatWest, a bank that went tits up in 2007 because of a remarkable lack of profit and required a massive taxpayer bailout to keep functioning. A bailout that Nigel Farage paid for with his taxes and continues to pay for. The taxpayer still owns nearly 40% of Coutts. I don't remember being asked if Coutts' values aligned with mine before I was forced to bail them out. And frankly, given that my values include living within my means and not destroying people's lives because I didn't like their retweet of a Ricky Gervais joke, I don't think their values do align with mine. So I'd like to cancel Coutts, please. And regardless of Farage's opinions, there was no risk to Coutts because nobody knew that he banked with them. Even after he announced that his bank had cancelled him, nobody knew who it was. By cancelling him, they revealed it. And what are Coutts' values anyway? Their website states, "An inclusive culture. We believe creating a great place to work that celebrates diversity is crucial to the success of any business. Our culture plan helps to make Coutts a place where all colleagues feel welcome and all can thrive." We see again and again how the buzzwords of the kind, tolerant left have lost all meaning. They live in opposites world. They talk about an inclusive culture, but they specifically exclude people. It reminds me of when I got cancelled by a comedy venue over my opinions. They genuinely said to me, "This is an inclusive space, you have to leave." It was the last funny thing ever said at that venue. Coutts say that they celebrate diversity, but clearly not diversity of opinion. Diversity to them means getting a PR agency to hire some models with different skin tones and head coverings for a photo shoot, and then sticking their pictures on the website like it's the cover of a university prospectus. Look, they've got the obligatory Muslim woman, they've got Colonel Sanders, they've got the school counsellor who convinces your child they're transgender, and they've got a woman so Chinese that her actual face is racist. Well done, Coutts. Such diversity, much strength. They say that their culture plan helps to make Coutts a place where all colleagues feel welcome. How welcome do you think colleagues who are Brexit voters feel at Coutts? How welcome does anyone feel if they have legitimate concerns or opinions about, say, cross-channel migrants or Islamic terrorism or authoritarian government or banks trying to police people's thoughts? This isn't just a Coutts issue, of course. 10 other banks have refused Farage an account. If you're left-wing and you want to understand why this is a problem, don't think of it as a bank account that's essential to function in modern society being denied to a person. Think of it as a cake shaped like Freddie Mercury's dick that a baker refuses to bake for you. And never mind Coutts' values, deliberately removing someone's access to banking is a direct contravention of society's values. Article 23 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights says that everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, to just and favourable conditions of work, and to protection against unemployment. Everyone, without any discrimination, has the right to equal pay for equal work. How are you going to get the equal pay for equal work when you can't put it in a bank account? I didn't think I'd ever feel nostalgic for the days when banks were so greedy and amoral they actually increased the size of their cashier openings so they could take cocaine dealers' money more easily. Now, your opinions have to fit in a certain mould before they'll let you bank with them, which is why I recommend buying gold through gold brokers, Pure Gold. Unlike a bank, gold can't cancel you. Pure Gold offer an unequivocal buyback guarantee and can deliver or store in their vault so you can hand it on to your kids or be buried with it like an Egyptian god. Gold! Always believe in your soul, and if you buy through my link you get preferential storage rates and I get a little sliver of commission, so one day I can be rich too. But getting back to Farage, I may not agree with his opinions. I voted Remain, although I'm not sure I would again after seeing how Remainers behaved, and after seeing how it made all the right people cry, seeing lefties going, oh boo-hoo-hoo, we have to leave Europe because of horrible democracy, was worth any economic disruption. But, and call me a Nazi if you find this horrific, I believe that people I don't agree with should be allowed to have access to the basic facilities required to live. And I disagree with Farage that the EU is responsible for his persecution. The data subject access request that he made that revealed Coutts' impropriety was made under GDPR, which is an EU initiative. Well, technically we're not subject to EU law, but we have an adequacy agreement that means our data laws essentially match GDPR. So essentially EU data laws, or UK laws that by necessity reflect them, allowed him to clear his name. Hooray for the EU! But it makes me wonder, will other clients request DSARs? I should imagine a lot of other wealthy Coutts clients will want to know what the Reputation Risk Committee has said about them and how they've been spied on. DSARs are expensive to process. This could cost Coutts dearly in processing DSARs and in trying to hold on to the high value clients that they've defamed in meetings. And bank cancellations aren't just stopping at Farage. Tory MP Jeremy Hunt and even the family members of politicians have been denied bank accounts. Banks have claimed that this is because these are politically exposed people who bring reputational risk. So what's the excuse then for cancelling the account of Reverend Fothergill, who had his account cancelled after inquiring why his bank had so many flags in the branch pushing transgender ideology? Clearly this was offensive to the bank, which was born a bank but identified as a Soviet Union secret police department. And what justification can there possibly be for the BBC when they don't seek out the truth? They spread lies to further damage a persecuted man. Licence fee money was spent to smear a man who'd been wronged by a taxpayer-funded bank. The BBC's Simon Jack said that Nigel Farage fell below the financial threshold required to hold an account at Coutts, the BBC has been told. People familiar with the matter rejected the notion that the decision to close his Coutts account was in any way political. Whereas BBC Verify when you need it, that's been proven to be a lie. His tweet is still up. And the BBC's John Sopel sneered, "You must feel a bit of a Charlie if you're Nigel Farage and you claim that it's all an establishment stitch-up that your account's been closed, when it's just that you're not rich enough for Coutts." You'd probably feel more of a Charlie if you're a journalist with a 40-year career and a reputation for digging out tough stories, but you uncritically swallow any shady PR put out by a bank. The BBC and Coutts are both funded from us. The BBC through the licence fee and Coutts through the taxpayer bank bailout. Look, I don't mind organisations collaborating to destroy a man's reputation in life, but please, do it with your own money, not with ours. And what happened to the left? They used to stand up for the little guy against corporate oppression, but now they're sticking up for not just a bank, but a bank for the very wealthiest people. Tony Benn must be spinning in his grave. It's a witch hunt, socially driven McCarthyism, except at least McCarthy had the noble aim of tackling communism. This witch hunt wants to institute communism under the guise of diversity, tolerance and inclusion, or more accurately, homogeneity, intolerance and exclusion. For decades, people thought that as China became richer, it would naturally gravitate towards Western liberal democracy. Instead, the West is gravitating towards Chinese-style authoritarianism. People prefer the illusion of safety, with institutions protecting us from nasty opinions, and a social credit score system, to actual freedom. Anyone who thinks I'm exaggerating, do you think they'll stop at Nigel Farage? Do you think they'll be satisfied? They'll keep coming, and the boundaries of acceptable opinion will keep getting narrower and narrower, and you'll have to second guess everything you say and everything you post to make sure you don't set a wrong think alarm ringing in NatWest thought crime unit. J.K. Rowling shows how someone could have perfectly acceptable opinions one year, and then the sands shift, and boom, your previously benign opinion that men shouldn't have access to women's spaces is suddenly transphobic, and you're Hitler. If we don't stand up to it, it'll come for all of us. So fight back by making sure that your account is always overdrawn. They can't close it if you owe them money. What are they going to do? Cancel your debt? Anyway, thanks for listening, and if you've enjoyed this video, please flag yourself with your bank's secret police by sharing it, and like and subscribe. And if you want to support me making these videos, become a Patreon. From as little as £3 a month, you can give me money, which is great, because I like money, and I want to be rich enough to bank with Coutts one day and get cancelled by them, and you get access to special content and stuff. And also, don't forget to buy your gold from Pure Gold. You can have it turned into a butt plug so the Stasi can't get it off you without some social awkwardness. Okay, thanks for listening. I've been Leo Kears. Bye. Bye bye.